All right, here we are. Welcome, everybody. I'll turn that down just a little bit. Yeah. I'm just going to let a few more minutes go by and then we'll start things off. Man. 13 weeks already. Wow. 13 weeks. Thirteen weeks. Okay. We're just about there. Just about there. Yes, you are, I believe. Yes, you are. And we're starting just now. Hello, everybody. And it is 7:35 p.m. CST, January the 23rd of 2021. This is Cast Talks, episode 13. We are enjoying a nice background by New Bliss, I believe. And we are here, even though the weather's not as rainy where I am as it is in this particular little video here. I do feel sympathetic because sometimes a little bit of rain can be pretty beautiful, and I hope that everyone here enjoys that. But yeah, welcome in. Glad to see you here, Jenny. I hope you're doing alright. Today we're doing some good news. We're talking a little bit about things going on with me, things going on Second Life, and we're talking a little bit about mental health as always. We'll be going until 9:30. So, I hope that all of my listeners currently are doing alright, and I hope you're all having a nice day. I'd like you to join me just for a little bit, for some companionship, maybe a little bit of fun, and some relaxation. You know, when I first started this, the vibes that I felt like I wanted to kind of create, you know, the kind of vibes I'm interested in, it's almost like a more relaxed version of the Northern Lion Live Super Show. And if none of you have ever heard of Northern Lion, he's really cool. And he recently had a daughter, just this year, or just last year, excuse me. And his kind of chill gaming setup it did always make me feel like I could do the same thing, but without the gaming, really. And it's always been an inspiration for me. It'd be nice to go on that show sometime. Be a nice benchmark in the future. But yeah. Today we are doing some good news, and our first story is going to be just here in a minute. Alright, here we go. Saudi Arabia is building a zero-carbon city with no cars or pollution. It is a new era of civilization. Though not often a role model for social justice, freedom, or democracy, Saudi Arabia is delivering to the world a worthwhile example of future living as it's announced plans to build a revolutionary, zero-carbon, zero-traffic city for over 1 million people, spanning 105 miles and featuring futuristic technology. The Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, said in an announcement that the city, called The Line for its long, thin shape and route along the coastline, will preserve 95% of the natural environment in and around which it is built, and will be an economic engine for the kingdom. We need to transform the concept of a conventional city into that of a futuristic one, Prince Mohammed said at an event to launch the city, according to Arab News. By 2050, 1 billion people will have to relocate due to rising CO2 emissions and sea levels. 90% of people breathe polluted air. Construction is to set in the first quarter of this year. Eventually, it's planned that a 105-mile network of AI-operated automated transports will carry a future population through 4 distinct districts: coastal, desert, mountains, and upper valley, on the northwestern corner of the kingdom, on the coast of the Red Sea. The cost of this technology, Wonderland, where there will be no cars, no streets, and no pollution, and where sun and wind will generate almost all of the electricity, is between 100 billion and 200 billion, much of which will come from domestic funds and the rest from foreign investment, both from businesses wanting a stake in the city of the future and companies looking to showcase technological innovation. Indeed, 1.5 billion is set to pour in from cloud information technology alone. Data is the central font around which NEOM and The Line will be planned, as Saudi economist Mazen al-Sudani described to Arab News. Most major cities in the world are organized around the flow of water and placement of crops, where The Line will be planned around access to data. All the Saudi royals came out in support of the project, with the Education Minister Hamad bin Mohammed al-Ash'aik describing it as characterized by the principles of global humanity, economic diversity, and artificial intelligence, and the enhancement of research and innovation opportunities for the future industry. Walkability will define life on the line, with planners allegedly working to ensure that education, transportation, and medical facilities, shopping, and leisure locations, as well as green areas, are all between 5 and 15 minutes by foot from any point in the line's communities. It is a new era of civilization, a new model for a city, which is clean, proper, and with zero carbon, said al-Sudani. I think it's about time that we start making some future cities. I am really into the idea of living on some kind of futuristic city. That's pretty cool with me. I'm a pretty big believer in things like technology and its power that it has to make the world a better place. I'm also a big believer in the ability for humanity to rise through technology. It's something that I've always found to be fascinating, and to be honest, it's something that I would like to take part in sometime, someday. Though I know that I personally don't have much stake in technology of that degree of extreme planning and infrastructure in this moment of my life. I don't have much stake in that besides wanting it for everybody else. I think that it would be phenomenal to live in some kind of future city where, you know, things are just right there in front of you, technology abound, and you can just walk anywhere 15 minutes, or the city's above ground transportation system just zips you across in no time at all. It would be interesting. It really would be. Above all, though, I'm interested in having sort of a life where it's almost sort of, maybe it would be a little bit selfish to say, but from a movie, you know, kind of a movie-esque thing going on where you look around and there's just kind of a crazy, almost video game city around you. You know, living in that crazy video game style world where it's sort of unimaginable that anything could be that cool, that you could live in something that cool. I honestly don't even know where I would start in a place like that, but certainly if it does get built and it is good, I will endeavor to go visit someday when things are a little smoother around the world. In fact, I'm so interested in sort of the future and things being improved that I, if I could, would help to make these sorts of things appear as often as I could. You know, I would be all about giving as much as I could to projects like this, because I think that future cities are really going to be necessary for what's going to come next in the world. Excuse me for a moment while I turn this on. There we go. The world in the future is going to require a not just more extreme, fundamental understanding of how to manage logistics. It will also require a system that can transport food, water, and commodities much more quickly than we've ever seen. And a future city like that would not only be able to solve problems like, you know, an Amazon delivery getting to you in under 3 hours or something like that, you know, it would be able to solve issues of like transporting information, transporting networks of scheduling, being able to create systems that not only allow for complicated and advanced networks of projects to be done simultaneously. It would mean that everything would be more unified. And unity is a good thing. But look at me going on about future cities. It's a big old, it's a big old thing that I enjoy. As far as actually talking about things going on in my life, which I'll do a little bit about that now, I am mostly doing all right these days. I'm a little bit, I guess you could say, uh, not a rut, but having a patch where I'm doing a little less than I'd like. You know, going through a spot, and I didn't do my good night stream, unfortunately, but I do feel like I needed the time off. I was over at Roy Valentine's Thursday movie night, and we watched George of the Jungle, which I'm not certain how I feel about it, besides saying that it was funny. I enjoyed it, but also I felt like I felt like I got something out of it, you know, seeing Brendan Fraser so young, and actually in a movie. Haven't seen that in a long time. That movie is old now. It's probably over 20 years old now. And I think I enjoyed a little bit of time with some other people, you know, a little bit of socializing. And I'm thinking that there is I guess you could say, a beautiful change happening in my life slowly, you know, very slowly, but I do feel like there's a positivity that is happening, and it really starts with a change in attitude, you know, to be grateful for a few things, and gratitude is pretty important in mental health. To be grateful of just even being alive, you know, that's pretty good. That's a good start. That's where I started. But the change is sometimes really small at first. You know, it's really like it's a switch that just sort of turns on in a small way. You might not even notice it at first, because I didn't. But that's the trickiness of recovering and mental health and stuff like that, is you don't really notice it at first. It kind of just happens. And you cross a threshold at some point and you've changed. It's pretty permanent too, honestly. And the, you know, negativity can always come back, but it's different. It's a little easier than it was before. And certainly I go through periods of crossing thresholds and changing for the better. You know, I've always been interested in seeing what my potential was and how far I could get. Certainly doing this stream and taking some time off to get in touch with myself and with a couple of people over the internet. That's got something to it. That's got something going on. I think, though, that I am enjoying this little time, as I always do. I'm not sure if you're actually typing right now, Jenny, but I'd love to hear how you're doing. Alright, we're gonna do a random word. So let me get that one out. Alright, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, when I was much younger, like maybe uh, 10, 11, over 10 years ago, I had a very poor time. I was deprived of a lot of positive sensations and a lot of helpful moments and a lot of wholesomeness. And that, coupled with teenage angst, it really did a number on me. I was in a very poor place for quite some time, and sensation was something that I craved. I was really interested in trying to figure out exactly what I could push myself to as far as things like enjoyment, things like excitement and pleasure. And I would just kind of keep trying new things, and it's a good thing I never turned to any alcohol or any drugs because, that is a dangerous place to be, and I'm grateful that I stayed away from that. I managed to somehow, even though I was pretty at risk, as I've said to a few friends. It is a really important thing to remember that I got through it, and I don't have any really terrible hobbies or habits, despite the whole gaming thing and the damage it's done to my arms, but that's actually healing up quite well. Just needs to take some time, unfortunately. But I have considered things like drinking and marijuana and stuff like that recently, which as soon as I get off of the medication that I'm on, which is sort of going to be not by want, but more by lack of having insurance pretty soon, I'll probably end up trying both of those to some degree. And I'm looking forward to it. I am. I've been really interested in not just experimentation, but with change. And I know that there are some positive effects it can have on your mental health alongside just helping you relax and stuff like that. And it's quite cheap where I live. It's quite cheap. Maybe as cheap as I've ever seen it. But that's the wonder of medicine, right? I think that there's a lot of good to be done with, I guess you could say certain kinds of chemicals and drugs. One I've been reading about recently was ayahuasca, and I have read about its effects on trauma and memory and fear, and I've never taken anything psychoactive or psychotropic. I've never experienced a trip or a high like that, though I have gotten euphoria a single, maybe twice in my time taking prescribed medications. Which, as somebody who, like I have said already, was in a bit of a hedonic way for a while, it was something. It was something, but I think that was just a fluke, maybe a twice fluke. I don't think that you can rely on that to ever happen. It was random, and I enjoyed it, but certainly I'm glad that it stopped because that would have been something to worry about as far as dependencies. And oh, Ella, hello, Ella. I'm so glad to see you. Your name's all blue. Wonder why everybody's blue today. Well, either way, glad to have you. How are you doing? Oh, seasonally, I have tried CBD, and it has had some effect on me. It makes my dreams very vivid, which I'm sure a lot of people have said. See, it's pink on my screen and then blue on the main screen, so it's random, I suppose. I'm doing pretty good. Just a little nervous as always at the beginning of my streams, but I'm glad to be getting into it. I'm glad to be trying something, and I just got a new alert sound for follows, so I am looking like good at that. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I know. I don't know if we'll hear it anytime soon, but I hope we do. It'll be a nice day. It'll be nice to hear it go off. But yeah. I don't know. You could try though. You could give it a shot if you'd like. I don't know if it counts if you're just like, oh, it did. It worked. Nice. It is very magical, isn't it? It's a little loud though, isn't it? I'm gonna turn it down. I didn't know it'd be that loud. Yeah, but it is nice. It is nice. Let me go to my Streamlabs. It's a little difficult to figure out exactly what's on brand for this stream, but I'm trying my best to create a vibe that can easily be identified. Let's turn it down to 30%. No, let's do 35. And you can oh, I understand seasonally. You can create an account, I think, but I don't know if that's going to work for you. But I see your text. She's texting me over PMs. Yeah, I'm not really sure if it fits exactly to our stream vibe, but it is magical, isn't it? It's cute and magical. Cute and magical. But yeah, we were just talking about things like ayahuasca and the effects of positive drug use. And Toothling was telling me that I should do it with a shaman or a trusted friend. And I have actually never met a shaman in my life, or a guru. No gurus for me. Though I have met people who have been psychonauts, as I believe they refer to themselves. I myself am not one of those people. I am mostly just interested in feeling well and feeling better, but I'm not interested in pushing the bounds of my consciousness or anything quite like that. I'm more just interested in feeling well, feeling naturally good. And you know, there are a lot of different drug trips that can do a lot of good things for people that need it. This is not something I think about taking, but I have heard that there are types of LSD, I don't know if that's the exact right way of putting it, that have positive effects on depression and PTSD. I have also heard there are types of mushrooms that do the same thing. Though I cannot be giving you any sort of medical advice on this stream. I am interested in all of this myself, and I'm only saying it because the view a lot of people have on things like this is sometimes very rigid and very unmoving, to the point where they will not even consider things like that, which is unfortunate because these things can be really helpful. But, you know, it's a chance that you gotta take sometimes. And I had a friend who was considering it herself, and she was able to turn herself around without it, which I am grateful that she was able to do that. But I've thought of it, you know, I've thought of it because assuming that this sort of thing worked, and assuming that you had some kind of helpfulness that surrounded you after you took it, it certainly would change things up, if nothing else, because that's a heck of an experience to try something like that. And I have no, like, carousing skill. Like, I don't know how to party, I guess you could say. I'm a very laid back and chill person for the most part, though I can get fired up at some things. I am not really a party guy for the most part. I prefer something mellow and chill. I'm sure there's a person out there who could recommend me something, and there are strains or species, I guess you could call them either, of marijuana, like indica and the other one, the one that helps you relax, not the one that helps you get to sleep, like indica. And I've considered which of those I might prefer, because I would like something that helps me sleep from time to time. I used to drink Purple Drink, which is a strange cocktail of sugar and the one that makes you fall asleep. It was like Benadryl almost. Oh my gosh, Purple Drink. I love that thing. Grape soda that made you fall asleep is great. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much, but just being able to fall asleep at any time. It's a strange, strange thing. But yeah. I was thinking it was melatonin. I think... Isn't that the one that changes your skin pigment? Isn't that the pigment for, like, darker skin? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't actually know what I'm talking about here, so you'll have to... Melanin. Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. That's melanin. The sleepy whatever. Ah, okay. That makes so much more sense. I was like, it's mela something, you know? Mela something. They're only 2 letters off from each other. And, yeah. But yeah, melatonin. Purple Drink was not good for anybody. Melatonin abuse is not good because as soon as you start getting too much artificial sources, it's like, well, we don't need to do this anymore. We don't need to make this anymore. And Purple Drink is like the probably the most softcore bad habit you can have. It's like abusing Benadryl. You know, it's not like horrible, but you shouldn't do it. You should stop, but you know, it's hard to abuse it too much. You'd have to drink a lot of sugar. It'd be the sugar you'd be worried about by then. So it's a sugary drink. Which is a bizarre mix, really. But yes. I am okay with the idea of finding a controlled environment and finding a place to spend some of my time and to meet people, and eventually feel comfortable enough that you can actually have a conversation with people and eventually try something new. And I'm not the kind of person that is, I guess the word obsessed isn't quite right, but fixated on having drug trips or getting high. I certainly wouldn't mind if I could find something like that every now and again, but I'm not interested in spending my life that way. There are some people who are comprehensively interested in that, maybe too comprehensively, that enjoy it so much and are so interested in it that they can't really live without it to some degree. And that's something that I don't want to experience. I would much prefer having I'm always interested in having new experiences, of course, but I want to make sure that they're safe experiences. It'd be nice to have a friend there. I don't know how long these trips would even be. I think a half-hour trip is like a reasonable amount of time, right? To be on a drug for a half hour. That's not too bad. And a lot can change in a half hour too. You can have a lot of huge discoveries in that time. And my mind has some funny reactions to a safe environment. You know, I imagine myself buckled into a chair, you know, with a leather straps on it and stuff like that. No, it's not quite the way you should do it, I don't think, but that's my knee-jerk reaction to the idea. Certainly someplace with dim lighting and a comfortable place to sit would be nice. But I don't really know anybody that I would like to have a drug trip with. I'm pretty like unaware of the kind of people I would trust for that, because I know people online that if I met them in real life and if I became friends with them in real life, then maybe I'd be okay with that. But certainly not strangers, right? You want to know the person at least a little bit before you take that step with them, because people go upside down, backwards crazy sometimes when they're on drugs, and once you see that, it's kind of hard not to see it anymore. But maybe the right person would be forgiving of that. Maybe. I'm pretty happy with the idea of finding that someday, though. It'll be nice. As far as the recreational or safe use of chemicals goes, there are certainly a lot of positive effects of even just like eating the right thing and drinking the right thing. You know, a good meal and a good friend to talk to over it. That's pretty great just on its own. You know, no need for a stimulant or a relaxant. You know, just someone you care about to talk with. That's the kind of high that I'd like. Yeah, I'm old-fashioned, I guess. But how are you doing, Ella? I didn't even ask. I hope that you're doing well. Oh, excuse me. There is something nice about Saturday nights. I don't know why, but I've always felt more comfortable on Saturday evenings. Maybe it's because I know that, you know, you're far enough away from the week that you can stay up a little later than usual, but you're still so deep in the weekend, but not totally so deep that you can worry about the week coming around soon. You've still got Sunday, so you've got some grace period before you have to worry about anything again. It's such an interesting thing. Oh, sativa is energy, okay. See, I've never even tried any of this before. Sativa, okay. Yeah, I'm completely out of the loop on anything regarding marijuana. I know so little, so very little. I have thought about a job cutting leaves. I think that'd be a nice job. Or tending to plants. I do love plants. I've considered going to college to be a plant tender or a plant scientist. Trimming, thank you. Yeah, I'm interested in learning more about things like hydrotherapy and not just hydrotherapy, but hydroponics and aeroponics. There we go. I You don't see the other comments? I still see them. You can open up the chat if you'd like to, and the chat has all the messages that have opened up already. Oh, if you're talking about seasonally, she's messaging me in PMs, so you can't see her messages. But yeah, I've thought about it. I've thought about it. She's waving to you. Yeah, I think she's gonna log on at some point, but not right now. As far as feeling like I'm interested in experiences like that. I'm pretty interested in natural improvements. I would prefer to not take medication if I could help it, but not everybody gets that choice. It is what I would prefer, though, because I just like the idea of having to take something in order to live, sort of like a medication. I feel like I have more of a choice than most people to not take it, and I'd like to make the choice to not take it sooner rather than later. That's what I'll do. And probably while I'm weaning myself off of things like I don't remember the name of it, but I take an antipsychotic myself, and when I eventually need to stop taking that, it will probably be something like indica that I take to help me get to sleep for a little while, because it is sort of a help for OCD as well, and it would be nice to be able to get to sleep in some small way. And they sell like just little gummy bears, little tiny gummy bears, and they're like $10 each or something, but very, very chill, very low cost as well. Susan Lee's mother had invited me to a wellness center, and she's interested in having me perform there. And yeah, I know, I'm kind of curious about what it would do for me and for the amount of people I can reach. I'd like to try seeing out how it goes. Though I'm not completely familiar with what I'd be doing scheduling wise. But if I could get a bunch of people together and yeah, seasonally as a shameless plug. If I can get a bunch of people together and get as many like happy, relaxed people in one room as I can, that'd be great. That's what I would prefer. And I think that it would be pretty easy, considering I already do this quite a bit, and if I was to just add maybe 1 or 2 more days of performance. So I've already spoken to Landa, is her name. I've spoken to her about the idea just a little bit, and I've spoken to Sue much more. And then we were going to speak about it today, but something came up for Landa, so we're talking about it tomorrow. But I've been to the wellness center already, and it looks like a nice place. It is an SL, yes. Which is to my preference. And I hope that it would be a good chance for me to expand. Yeah, I think so too. She was very taken with the meditation performance that I gave just the other day. And it happened to be a very good performance. And it'll be up on YouTube pretty soon, so you can go look at it when you'd like to, Ella. Yeah, Jenny was there, she knows. Aw, thank you very much, Ella. The road to success. It's nice of you to say. I have met a person who can help me, and she's interested in doing more, and I'm interested in doing more. So certainly things are moving in a positive direction. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. I have to ask her if she's okay with me giving out my Patreon, though. Because SOS does not want me to do that, which I understand. Yeah, I'm totally understand. Yeah, seasonally, I am staying with SOS too. I do like that group as well. But yeah, they don't want me giving out my Patreon because they don't want people to have to pay to see relaxation or benefits from mental health, and I understand that's not really fair to be like, hey, pay me money for my performance. So it's not that kind of place. It's not that kind of place. But depending on how this wellness center thing operates, it may very well be possible for me to give them my Patreon as well, which would be phenomenal. As I've said before, I would prefer to be making money on Patreon as opposed to anywhere else. Hopefully. I'm okay making money on Twitch too, just because it would be more like people seeing what they like about what I do and enjoying themselves, regardless of being able to pay for like a monthly subscription to Patreon, just being able to support me in a different way would be nice as well. But I'm okay with either. Though Twitch does have kind of a special sort of fanciness to it, doesn't it? With sounds and alerts and stuff like that. Alright, people, we're moving into a fancy schmancy. I agree with you. We're moving into the second half of our stream for today. But before we do, why not take a minute to stand up and stretch and get a drink for yourself? Get something nice. That's what I'm gonna do. It's what you should do too. So go ahead and stretch out, roam about, and come on back in about 5 minutes. Be right back. here we are. Welcome back, everybody. I'm all wrapped up in a sleeping bag. Thank you, Ella. Thank you. I liked your first one too. Oh, I thought that was Ella twice. Thank you both. You're both blue on my screen. Yeah, thank you, Seasonally, as well. Alright, we're going to get into our second story for the day. Our second good news. Just some good news. Some good news. Salmon spotting for the first time in 80 years in the upper Columbia River. Tribal biologists have confirmed that Chinook and steelhead salmon are spawning in the upper Columbia River system in Washington state for the first time in 80 years. The discovery of 36 reds, where female salmon deposits her eggs along a prime 8-mile spawning stretch of a tributary of the Columbia called the San Poil River, confirmed the Colville's tribe's suspicions. It's the culmination of decades of dreaming and years of work, which one can hear in the words of Crystal Conant, a Colville tribal member of the Arrow Lakes and San Poil bands, when she spoke to Eli Frankovic, head spokesman. I was shocked at first then I was just overcome with complete joy. I don't know that I have the right words to ever explain the happiness and healing, she said. The Confederated Tribes of the Colville system have been planning and researching how it would be possible to restore salmon populations to the river systems above 2 dams, built in the 1930s and 50s, which prevented the fish from reaching the higher levels of the river system to spawn, as they had done for generations. In blocking the salmon from returning to the upper reaches of the San Poil River, many of the tribes there were prevented from carrying out fundamental practices of their culture, including the salmon songs, which called the fish back from the ocean, and spearfishing around Kettle Falls, over which the river tumbled and rolled, as it contested against quartz boulders. The Grand Coulee and Chief Joseph dams don't include fish ladders, and so in August the Colville tribes released 100 salmon 35 miles upstream of the 2 dams in an attempt to see if they would survive and spawn. They outfitted electric trackers to the fish so they would be able to observe their movements. Over the summer and fall, contrary to some predictions, the fish would just up and leave. The hatchery-born salmon spread out and began to spawn. But of course, the major challenge to an otherwise superbly plausible restoration effort is whether the small salmon can cross the Columbia River reservoir created by the dam, pass through the hydropower infrastructure, move out to sea, eat, grow, and return again. As one of the most arduous and impressive migration patterns in nature, it's difficult to survive in the best of times, but whether the human-constructed obstacles make it impossible is not known. Their survival also depends on how many aggressive and invasive northern pike can be removed from the river and reservoir, as they would prey on the salmon species. Only after these survival concerns are alleviated will the tribes begin investigating potential costs of passageways through the dams. According to another report from Public Radio, it could be 10 to 15 years before the tribe's big picture feasibility studies are concluded, since they would need to observe salmon coming and going while spending years out at sea. But the wait will be worth it for when the fish can return, as they are the keystone in the Colville tribe's culture. Our ancestors carried a prayer that our salmon would one day return to the Upper Columbia. Colville Business Council Chamber Rodney Costin said in a statement, with all the prayers that were made historically and today, combined with all the efforts of our fisheries staffs, our leaders, and many others who are joined in this effort, we can bring our fish home. That's a lovely story. I do love salmon too. I can't deny that. I love salmon. Very, very tasty fish, especially with rice. I've even had salmon sashimi. And I mean, it's fine. It's expensive and it's fine. Hey, you know. It's something, isn't it? It's something. You know, we're going to be 4 months into this pretty soon. What a crazy thing. 14, 15, then 16. We'll be going at it before you know it. Down to 5 months, then 6 months. It's crazy. Crazy to think this all started on Halloween night. I'm very grateful to have all of you here. Grateful to be here and grateful to be blessed with another great Saturday. These streams have a special place in my heart. I do wonder what the future holds. Glad you think so, Jenny. I do wonder what the future holds for all of us. Yeah, I'm thinking about how far we've come already. You know, it's a great thing. It's a great thing to be busy at work and doing something cool. It has been a long time since I've been able to keep up with something like this. The only other thing in my life that's been quite this regular has been my trip to a psychiatrist, which might be of slight embarrassment, but I am grateful that I have something so regular to think about and to work on. It's really something. It's like a growing thing. You know, I've never really created a safe space like this before, and it is nice. It really is. I think that this particular safe space for me has been pretty helpful. You know, all this time being able to be spent just just relaxing by myself, and then with all of you people here. And at some point we'll get guests on, though I don't know who it will be or when it will be. Some point we will get guests on. I think the first person I'd like to have as a guest will have to be really, really chill and alone, because the chillness is super important for this live stream's vibe. Very chill vibe. But I hope all of you listening to this now and in the future, I hope you can find this to be a safe space to think about and entertain and enjoy all sorts of thoughts. It's alright, Sue. I'm a. I'm actually not very calm. I just appear to be very calm. I have a lot of negative and anxious and sort of excitable thoughts going on constantly. It's just that I'm very good at hiding. You know? I have a lot going on, and well, thank you, Season Lee. I guess I'm proud of me too. I think it's pretty important. But yeah, despite appearances, there's a lot going on with B and stuff like that. And I have to work pretty hard to maintain my cool, my chill. But I think I do a fairly good job at that. And I am grateful for what I have. Grateful for what I have. Certainly, I think that this is a tough and difficult thing to do, to try and remain calm when you don't feel very calm. But I've kept my cool for a long time now. I've been keeping my cool. And I find it that I lose my cool very easily around my family, specifically. But I think everybody has that effect on them, though. I guess family just sort of brings out the feelings in a lot of us. It brings out the feelings in me too. But I certainly have my moments of being less than cool, less than chill. It's just important to be able to help give yourself time, to be calm. Certainly, I know that it's a challenge for a lot of people to keep their cool. I've had challenges the same way. And that's what these streams are all about. It's about chilling out, being cool, and taking it easy. And it does feel good to say I've been able to create that atmosphere, all by my lonesome, all by myself. But I couldn't have done it without any of you folks. So always remember that you have a very special place in the stream. Oh, excuse me. Without you guys, it wouldn't really be any stream at all, it'd just be me. So thank you. Let's do some random words. Dignity. Yeah, for a lot of my life, I've been undignified, I have to admit. But I think that you sort of put that at the wayside sometimes when you're really trying to survive more than you are trying to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, when you're feeling undignified, when you're feeling ungraceful, sometimes it can sometimes kind of feel like you don't have any strength left to keep yourself up. And I felt like that for quite some time, where I didn't feel like I had the strength to be dignified. I feel like I've earned a lot of that back. It takes a long time to build that up. And you need to learn how to love yourself and stuff like that to make it work. I think living a life of dignity is something I would like as well, alongside being comfortable and being happy. I think it'd be nice. look at our next word. Polite. Polite's a good one. So, I think that over the years, I've adopted a few mannerisms. I've adopted uh, it came to me from a movie, my favorite movie actually, which is I believe a 1960s movie, 1950s movie called Harvey. In it, a character has a friend who is a white 6'1.5" white rabbit, and only they can see them, and a lot goes on, but it really taught me that you don't have to be really smart or really interesting or really tough or really strong if you're just pleasant to everybody and you treat everybody well, despite how they treat you. You know, treat everyone you can well. Then there's a lot that can go right for you. You know, being pleasant and being kind as often as you can. It is a little funny. It is a little bit of a funny film. But pleasantness and politeness are really important. And I think that actually taking the time to show your kindness to those around you and to others, I think that's really important. That's something I look forward to meeting people and being in the presence of kind, fellow, pleasant people as well. Alright folks, we're coming into the last quarter of our stream for tonight. I hope you're all enjoying yourself so far. I hope that maybe you're feeling a little bit more at ease, a little more calm, maybe a little more soothed than when you started. I know this always does wonders for my nerves and anxieties. It's always a good thing. Oh man, excuse me, please tell me something funny. But yeah, I do have a lot of, anxieties that I face. I think that making money is a tough one for me because I'm not really much of a capitalist, to be honest with you. I would prefer to only have the amount that I will ever need, right? To like not have any extra or have any too much, just the amount that I'll need and the amount that I can live comfortably with, and beyond that I'm just like, I don't want any more. More money, more problems, as they say. I guess I tie a lot of attachment to my worth and my value as a human to how much money that I have made. I guess that's what... Oh, well, good night, Jenny. I hope you sleep tight. I'll see you later. Thanks for coming. See you soon. But yeah. Certainly, this is a helpful thing to a lot of people. It's a helpful thing for me too. It's sometimes important to remember that there's a lot of time that we spend in our days not being positive or not being helpful to ourselves. And something that we can do to change that a little bit is just not only be mindful of things we say and do, but be mindful of how we treat others with politeness and pleasantry. Because I was in school bullied quite a bit. You know, I admit I did things that aroused the attention and frustration and dislike and discomfort and even rancor of certain people. But I think that I couldn't have expected children to treat me like anything but children. But I see now. I see that things could have been much different. They could have been much, much different. And I understand from a perspective that it does make me feel proud and privileged, but it does make me also wish I had a second chance. And I contemplate if a heaven or an afterlife exists. I think that it might be living life over again, but as the you that you are on your deathbed or where you end your life. I think that that is a heaven of its own, honestly. I think that that would be something I'd be okay with. I'd be happy about that. And I wonder if that does exist, you know, if I am worthy of that. And I like to think that I am, you know, helping as many people as I help and being as kind and as gentle to as many people as I am. I think a lot of people ask that same question though. You know, if they're a good enough person to get into heaven. I wish I had an answer, honestly, but I think it's safe to say if you mean well and if you treat others with respect and don't hurt anybody, if you just live a life like that, I think you're worthy. And I don't know how any of that would really work in sort of a galactic, cosmic, universal, karmic sense, but I feel I feel like there is something else that exists beyond us, even though I can't see it or have any proof of it. I do feel like it exists. I certainly don't have the answers, but what I can say is that if it does exist, then I look forward to it. I really do. It would be a welcome reprieve. Plus, who doesn't want to, start life over again with all their knowledge they already have? Just be this. That scared me. That noise in the background video scared me. I'm gonna turn it down now. Yeah, I know. I didn't expect that. Sorry about that. I couldn't have guessed that this video would have that moment in it later on. It's doing it again. Interesting. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. But yeah. But yeah. I like to think that there's nobody that really deserves to suffer or, go to some kind of underworld. Even like the worst person you can think of, I don't think they deserve to be condemned for all eternity. I think that people who do bad things or who hurt others, there's something wrong with them. Fundamentally and to the core, and more than anything else, they need help. And need to be trained to be a better person and taught how to be a better person. And they need assistance more than anything else. And it's a shame that our society doesn't give that kind of assistance out more willingly and freely. Because I know that I could have become a much different person under the circumstances I was in. There was a lot of room for me to have gone bad and to break bad and to become a much worse, much more unkind person. There was a huge chance for that. I managed to avoid that somehow. I managed to keep away from that. But it was only just. There was a huge chance that it could have gone the other way, too. We live in a pretty strange world, don't we? Pretty strange. I don't really think I understand quite a bit of it. But you know, I do try. And as long as you try, I guess you can't go too wrong. I might edit that part out earlier with the bump. Because that was horrible. It really spooked me, it really woke me. I might go edit that out later. I have had to make some edits in these videos. There have been times where I've like accidentally shown something I didn't mean to, or there's been a noise I didn't mean to have in there, and I've had to go back and edit them. And it requires a very fine perception of what's happening in your video, because if I wasn't being this careful about it, if I wasn't being this monitoring, I'm not sure the right word for that is, monitoring maybe, about it, I might have missed it, I might have missed it. And when something is out there, unless you can get it fast enough or not enough people can see it, then you can really hurt yourself. And I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I'm figuring this stuff out now before, I have more people watching and more people are capable of seeing the mistakes. It's a good place to be when you can learn early. And I think catching these things early is pretty crucial. Fine tuning, yep, fine tuning. Even now, I haven't decided what my favorite place to lie, like my favorite way to lie down and watch the chat and enjoy just hanging out is. I haven't found that spot yet. I've been trying though. I've been trying to figure out what's the best way to relax and enjoy the stream with you guys. I think certainly there is a way, and it might take me a little while to actually figure it out, but I feel like I get a little closer each time. It needs to be like a place where I could almost fall asleep, fall asleep to myself. That'd be nice. If I ever do make myself fall asleep during my own stream, that would be kind of funny. I don't know what I would think about that. You guys just hear me snoring or breathing or whatever I would do in my sleep. Okay, Ella. When I was much younger, I had an enlarged pair of adenoids. If you don't know what an adenoid is, it's like a snail-looking thing in your nose, in your nasal cavity, and it makes you snore. That is a huge reason for snoring, and sleep apnea as well, but I don't know if they're related. Sleep apnea, I don't know if I might have that, but I know that I had adenoid problems, And when I had mine out before then, I mean, I was snoring so loud I would wake my brother up in our beds because we had a twin bunk bed, and I was always on top. He would like wake up, and I'd wake other people up in the house too. It was a huge problem. I never thought I snored, but I was on a FT call and fell asleep, and the next day the person told me that I snored, and I was so shocked. Oh, very quiet snoring is cute though. Sleep, like very quiet snoring is cute. Loud snoring is obnoxious. If that makes sense. Mine was very loud. Very, very loud. And I put a lot of oh, now I'm hiccuping. Oh my gosh. I had a lot of sleep problems when I was younger. I used to wear headgear too, like uh, dental headgear, orthodontic headgear. Ugh. Oh, horrible, horrible, horrible. I couldn't sleep with it on. I tried my best to sleep with it on, but I couldn't. I always took it out. I don't know if my burping is, I have burped with a hiccup before, though. I've had a burp hiccup attack at one point. I remember that. I've been able to stop my hiccups, though. A burp up. This is stupid. It's good, though. A burp up. I like it. I've never woken myself up with a burp, but I worry that I would someday wake myself up by burping or hiccuping. I guess there's some kind of wire that doesn't get crossed there when you're sleeping. At least not for me. Waking yourself up with a fart. Oh man. I don't think I've ever done that, to be honest with you. I've woken myself up by talking to myself, though. I remember that much. I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but sometimes I talk to myself in my sleep, and I wake myself up doing that. It kind of happens randomly. Yeah, I know it is. It is a little adorable. Uh, like I will just be like asleep, and I'll be like, no, I'd prefer there to be cream cheese on that. I don't like it with. No, never mind. Cream cheese sucks. And I'll just like talking to myself, and I'll just start saying stuff, and I'll like be like, what, what happened? I'll just be like, where am I? Who's talking to me? And then I'll just fall back asleep. I fall back asleep and I forget it even happened. Uh, it's a strange thing. I, I I haven't heard of somebody else with that problem. But aw, Seasonally says, my camp counselor used to sign language with her hands as she slept. I have never heard of that before. That sounds really interesting. I would think that would be really hard to do in your sleep, but I guess if you're just like signing, against your covers, you just don't know what you're doing, you're just asleep. Aw, trying to read her dreams. That's cute. It's really cute. But yeah, people do all sorts of things when they're sleeping. All sorts of things. Mm. I'd like to work with horses someday. I'd like to work with all kinds of animals someday, though, because I do like animals a lot. Big old fan of animals. All right, folks, we're coming into the last few minutes of the podcast here pretty soon. Or not podcast stream. Excuse me. And now is a good time to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for participating in our stream. I don't have a joint seasonally, but thank you. Actually, I would prefer never to smoke in my life if I can help it. I'd prefer to eat edibles myself. No, no, no. That's the point of it is to talk with each other. That's the point of it. There's no distractions at all. It's all just fine. Man, I'm going to bed right after this. I swear, I'm going to bed right after this. And I am sleepy. I'm a sleepy boy. It's okay. We were just talking about me talking in my sleep, Ella. Aw. Nice. I'm glad you got to sleep, though, if nothing else. Nice. I talk to myself enough during the day that I talk to myself in my sleep, too. Don't know why that happens exactly, though. I've had many instances where I'll be sleeping like with someone else in the same room, and they'll tell me that while I'm sleeping, I sat up and looked around, and when they asked if I was okay, I just look at them and go back to sleep. That's really funny. Uh, yeah, man. It is funny, though. It is funny. It's very good. Oh, that's right. You got all those ducks, didn't you, Sue? I do hope you enjoy them. Yeah, she got some ducks for free from a neighbor, and now she's gonna pluck them and enjoy them. She's got plans for them. They were in a hunting thing that happened with them. Yeah. It's a little sad for me, but she's gonna enjoy it. At least she's got it, and so she's gonna take the best of it. But I think all animals are cute, so I have a hard time eating anything. I'll eat fish though, because fish are not very cute or very smart. At least most fish, like most big fish. No, no honey roast duck for me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for participating in the stream. Yeah, I feel the exact same way, Ella. I don't like knowing that it was a creature once. Thank you for being here though, Ella. I'm grateful that you were. I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad that you were enjoying it and I'm glad that we got to hang out for a while. And we'll do it again next week at the same time. But until then, you guys have a nice night. Take care. And stay safe. See you later.